got in the frame at the moment?
Got you on the sort of left, and I've got that a bit on the right.
A bit on the right as well.
So
Okay.
you a bit off centre.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Welcome to the second part of the model railway build. We're upstairs in we call the barn. It used to be a barn. It's the front room. Okay. So we're on a kind of mezzanine floor, and this is eventually where the railway will go. As you can see at the moment, we haven't actually started putting the baseboards down. But what I have started doing is some model railway building construction. You caught me in the middle of making some low relief, where are we? Low relief model buildings. This is the start of the build. We'll get onto those in a minute. Right, so populating your model railway with buildings can be a bit expensive. You sport for choice nowadays. When I was a kid, we just used to use books. So, Hornby 003 route, upstairs, in the bedroom, on the floor, Christmas. That's my two brothers and I. We all had bits of trains, and we all got together and put it all together. And Mum used to let us put it out for a couple of weeks over Christmas. So that filled the whole of the floor. So tunnels were made out of books, because we had a lot of books. So a couple of stacks of books, big book on top. That's a nice tunnel. Stations, we had one station, a Hornby 00 wooden station, which was quite nice. If you wanted more, it was books. So we had stations built out of books. Nowadays, you're a bit sport for choice for what you can buy, what you can make on the industrial or country or town scenes, whatever you want. It's available. But as I said initially, it can work out a bit expensive if you're not careful of what your choices are. For me, I've looked at the resin, I've looked at the plastic kits, I've looked at all the cardboard kits that you can buy, just pre-printed on pieces of cardboard, comes in a plastic pack, stick it together. There's manufacturers of those out there, but even those, if you're looking for instance at a mainline station, by the time you've bought the platforms, by the time you've bought the main station building, perhaps a good shed, some little bits and bobs to go onto the platforms, canopies, whatever, you could be looking at about £50, 50 squids for a complete mainline station, which is a bit expensive, I think. But horses for courses, if that's what you want to do. It's a quick way of doing things, obviously. Quicker still is the resin ready-made things. Now you can just populate your model railway with those. Just stick them on, ready-made, ready painted, ready to go. But what I like doing is building my buildings from scratch. Okay, well, I'll say from scratch. I download, okay, the design and the paper, etc. I'll run you through it in a tick. The one I'm doing at the moment was, I think it was about £4 or £5, I can't remember. And the nice thing about downloading from the internet is once you've paid your money, you can print as many as you like. So if I buy, for instance, like this one here is a set of low relief terraced houses. There's 6 houses that comes ready printed, and if I want more, if I want double that length, I just print more. Now where I get these from, I get these from Scale Scenes, a guy called John Whiffen, absolutely brilliant draftsman, and as I said, it's not the easiest thing in the world. It does take time to do, but the end result is, as far as I'm concerned, as good as it gets, as good as I want, at the price that I want to pay for it. I've already downloaded some for previous railways. Whether I'm going to use them or not on this railway, I don't know. But I downloaded a row of cottages, or 2 cottages, 4 cottages, there we go, and built those. They've got, it's a bit old now, but they've got see-through, they've got plastic, see-through windows, see-through little windows in the doors. All these little, that's for sale, for the let sign, pillar box, the name of the row of cottages there, cobwebs. That comes with everything. On the back you've got exactly the same. You've got rear doors, you've got windows, inside you've got curtains, you've got bookcases, you've got all sorts. And these you can illuminate inside because they've got see-through plastic glazing, and that I think probably cost me about £4 as well to download. And as I say, if I want loads of those, all I've got to do is print off more. The other ones which I've made, narrowboats. That's a narrowboat, that's a liverboard narrowboat, see-through windows. You could put little lamps inside that if you wanted to. I hadn't thought about that at the time, so it's all closed. So putting lamps inside that might be a bit of a hassle. It's closed on the bottom. I think possibly cutting something out of the bottom there and sticking some LEDs in would do it. Obviously with that particular kit, download, comes an enormous choice of types of narrowboat. That's another one. That's an industrial, obviously, whatever he's hauling there. What would that be? 1930s, 1920s, 1930s. London Midland Scottish Railway narrowboat. And of course you've got your lock with cobwebs, all downloaded from Scale Scenes, printed out, put together, glued up. I think that's nice, that. A bit of varnish or something on top of the green base here will give us a good idea that it's water rather than a piece of paper. But I like that. As I say, I can build as many as I want of those because I've downloaded it. I've paid John, and well, that's the way I go. Let's have a look at printing, shall we? So what you do with Scale Scenes is you get online, you go through his choices. He's got town scenes, he's got rail scenes, he's got dock scenes as well now. Plus he's got a range of print-out papers and different other things, signs for people who want to do things themselves, design and build sort of brick paper and stuff like this. Okay, so you make your choice. You pay with pay online. The download comes immediately, and then you print it off onto paper. Okay, so ordinary paper, just a piece of paper like that. I think that's probably about 60 grams, 80 grams, something like that. Ordinary white paper. Print it all out. Make sure that you print it out to the correct size. Obviously, original size. There's a little scale at the bottom here of the drawing, so that's 10 millimeters for the metric-y people, and that's an inch for people like me. So as long as I can put a ruler on that and measure it up at an inch, I know that I've printed it out at exactly the right size. So do the first page first, make sure it's okay, and then print out the rest. Okay. So this one, I can't remember how many sheets I printed out. Probably about 10, something like that, 10 sheets. Alright, and each sheet has marked on the bottom of it what you do with it. So this one in particular is print only. We've got lots of print onlys. These here will be printed, and it says heavy card. Right, so you cut these out, stick them onto a piece of card, and then cut out the card, okay, and then do whatever the instructions tell you. There's two downloads when you get it. One is the actual PDF of the building itself, another one is the instructions of how to build it. The card that I use is ordinary gate grey, standard card like that. I used to buy it in dirty great sheets, but apparently it's not available anymore where we live anyway. So I have to buy it in A4 sheets. A little bit more expensive, but it's not extortionate. About what is it? Less than £1 a sheet, I think, something like that. So it comes in for me, for these buildings, two sizes: medium and heavy. Medium is 1 millimeter thick, and heavy is heavy is 2. Heavy is 2 millimeter thick. So we have some card, 1 millimeter thick, 2 millimeters thick. You then follow the instructions implicitly, otherwise you get your knickers in a twist if you don't do that. As I say, it takes a while to build these things. The one thing that you have to think as you go along, which I always forget of course, is whether these things are going to be internally lit or not. And I haven't thought about that on this one yet. I'm just coming to the point where I'm going to have to retro think, as it were. If I want to illuminate that one, for instance, each house is separate. Upstairs, upstairs, downstairs, downstairs. Each one is a separate box. So if you put lights in the top, it's only going to illuminate one of these 4 sections at the moment. What you want, of course, is to put, perhaps I'll use a little strip of 3 LEDs in there. 3 LEDs will be sufficient enough for this whole area. So I've got to now think about how on earth to get the LEDs, which will stick on the back face or something or other, and the wires through the bottom. Should have thought about it before, huh? But these things are sent to Trias, and Trias they are doing. The other advantage with this one is that you've got cut out windows, so you can have windows that are glazed. So these just pieces of paper, okay, cut out the windows and then stuck onto a bit of see-through plastic. I keep all my stiff see-through plastic. I had some points delivered, Pico points, and they come in very nice plastic, see-through plastic cover kind of thing. So I kept all of those, and I will be gluing those onto the plastic, cutting them out, and then sticking them in the inside the building. The other advantage you get with this particular download is that you can change the front of the buildings. You can change the brick finish to a stucco or different other finishes that are included within the printout. So you can have a couple of brick buildings and perhaps somebody's whitewashed his, so you can have that kind of finish. Somebody's got grey stucco, you can have that finish. So you just put your choice on. The other thing also is that included within the kit are some shops. So you don't have to have all houses. You could have a shop in the middle. You can have all shops if you wanted to. All the shop fronts are included. You can actually print your own shop name if you want. What else can you do? Oh yeah, they've got all sorts of things to stick inside the shops. As I say, I've already put bookcases in these because these are going to be houses. But that might be a shop, that one. I've not put anything in there yet. And I've got a whole load of paintings here I can stick on the wall. They look like Picasso to me, but anyway. What have we got as far as shops go? We've got... Ooh, look at that. So we've got laundrette by the looks of things. We've got pizza place. We've got general stores. We've got Speedy Print. We've got the Evening Times. That's newsagents, obviously, and Sweetie Shop. Lots of pizza boxes and adverts, all included within the kit. So you don't need to buy a special kit for shops. You don't have to buy a special kit for different finishes on the front. If you want bay windows on the front instead of flat windows, it's included within the kit. So what we're going to do is we're going to get on with that. We're going to finish this one, hopefully, fairly soon, and then we'll show you as we go along what we're doing. But as I say, follow the instructions implicitly. Use some good knives, okay? So I use a scalpel, Swan Morton scalpel, for cutting paper. I use one of these disposable blade things, these knife things that you can break off for cutting the cardboard. Because believe it or not, the cardboard really blunts knives pretty quick. So you need a sharp knife on the cardboard, otherwise it tears. I use these kind of gluey stick things here. These they used to be called Pritt sticks, didn't they? Sort of that's for gluing the paper onto the cardboard. It doesn't work 100%, but it's not too bad. You don't want to get it too wet. That's the thing. You don't want to get paper wet. You don't want to get the cardboard wet. They're good for that. And then for gluing card to card, ordinary white wood glue. Again, not too much, otherwise it dries clear. But if you're going to put something, the problem is there's the corners. Okay, when you put two things together, you get squishy bits coming out of the joint of that. So clean those off as you go along. Otherwise, you're going to end up with solid squishy bits in the corner. And when you come to put something else in the corner, it doesn't fit because there's a great lump of glue in the corner. We've had a think. Well, I have anyway. I've had a think about the train layout. I know in the first video we showed you, well I did, what it was going to look like. A Hornby, out of a Hornby catalogue, Hornby track plans thing. So I've modified that because I've done the same thing again as I always really do, is choose a layout that's got far too much track on it, and also one which is too wide to actually lean over. We've got an area here which is about 11 foot long by about 7 or 8 foot, something like that, wide. And I still want to make it an L shape, okay? So the main length of it will be 11 foot, and then we'll have the curve obviously coming round, and then we'll have stations and buildings on the L, and then the return coming the other side. So it'll still be a running round in circles thing, but it'll have a hole in the middle of it for me to pop up into. And the one side of it, which will probably be about 3 or 4 foot wide, will be the scenic side. So that'll have a back scene on it. Okay, so you won't see the other side of the railway. So it's not going to be a big circle which you can see everything on. Okay, so the front side will have a back scene. That will be part town, part half man, half biscuit. You know what I mean? Part town, part trees and countryside. That's the word I was looking for. And then the other side of it will be the returns, okay, and obviously the tracks to the L-shaped bit, which has got a station on it, and it'll have a couple of sidings there, so we can leave a couple of trains in there ready to run isolated. Because it will be a DC layout, not a DCC layout, so I need isolated sections to leave trains in. I like all my trains to be seen, all the coaches and trucks to be out. I like all that, but it can get a bit clogged up at times, so we need plenty of sort of like storage bits. So that'll be out the back bit, which you won't see, obviously, not unless you're looking at it. Well, that's about it. We've got some half-made trees which we'll go through perhaps next time. Trees, like trees, and well, yeah, that's all for now. And I'll see you on the next happy buildings. And I'll see you on the next video. Hopefully, if you're not bored stiff. Alright then, I don't know who my wife is. Yeah. She looked at one the other night, and after a couple of ticks I thought her eyes were closed if she'd nodded off. Never mind. See you later.